company dismissed. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Well, welcome along to another edition of the Sky Blue History podcast. I'm Claudio, and I'm joined, as always, by the man who knows more about Coventry City than I could ever dream of, the walking encyclopedia himself, Jim Brown. Honestly, Jim's knowledge makes mine look like the back of a Panini sticker album, and even then I'm missing half the stickers. Following the incredible 5-3 win at Derby, we thought it would be a perfect moment to look back at the expression "the old five," where it came from, the players and characters who gave it life, and why it still resonates so strongly with the fan base today. And this Wednesday marks 20 years since we moved into the CBS Arena, and how ironic that Saturday we're up against QPR, the very first league visitors to the new ground back in 2005. We'll also be looking at the start of the season. 1 week gone, 2 wins and a draw in the bag. Being typical supporters, Jim and I don't quite see eye to eye on how it's gone or where we still need to strengthen. But one thing we did agree on is that Saturday felt like a throwback to the late 70s, all-out attacking football, chances flying at both ends, and plenty of goal-mouth drama. Evening, Jim. For me, it's been a solid 7.5 out of 10 this week. What about you?
Evening, Claudio. For me, this week is about 8 out of 10.
Oh.
I think Saturday was a 10 out of 10. I'm prepared to ignore the defensive lapses with the fact that we got 5 goals in the Derby net.
Right. So, and I mean, everyone says we're typical slow starters, but that's far from it. I mean, we probably felt a bit sort of miffed with the goalless draw with Hull, but we spoke about this earlier. Width of the post away, Milan scores. We've won that game, haven't we? So we could have started with 3 wins. The cup match was pretty much what I expected, and we got the job done in the end. And Saturday was a remarkable game, really, because there's 8 different scorers. We had 5 different scorers, didn't we?
We did.
And it was entertaining, which is something I've been moaning about for a long time, where I want to be entertained and I want to win. And I just loved the way we approached the game on Saturday. I thought it was marvellous.
Yeah, I think there's quite a few things to take away from that performance as well. You know, if you remember at the end of last season, we relied heavily on Jack Redoni to make goals, to score goals, and to keep the ball going forward. But he had a quiet game, I thought, on Saturday. He was, I wouldn't say it was lackluster. He was very, very good in possession, but he wasn't that dominating character we've come to expect. And our other players, our other attackers, certainly stepped up to the plate. I don't think any of the front three or Torp had anything but fantastic games. Actually, all 4 of them. So that's one thing I'd take away from that. The other thing is that if you remember, at the end of last season, or towards the end of last season, we played at Derby at Pride Park. It was the game that ended our fantastic run of 9 wins out of 10. And we were very lackluster that night. We got done, basically. We got mugged by Derby that night, who scored a bit of a scrappy goal and then sat back and just soaked up our meaningless crosses all night, and then grabbed another goal to clinch the points. And if you remember, Derby had a tremendous home record at the back end of last season after Eustace arrived. And that home record kept them up. I think I heard the stat that they only conceded 10 goals in their last 13 games last year. Well, they've already conceded 8 in 2 this campaign. So I think that's something to bear in mind. Obviously, they've had injuries with a lot of their new signings, which is unfortunate, but maybe they should have done a bit more homework. I don't know. I don't know many of the signings in in detail. But I thought their lineup was very strange on Saturday with 3 centre backs. Dion Sanderson, who's always played well against us. He used to mark Gyökeres very, very well when he was at Blues. Him playing on the right instead of the left. He had a nightmare. He gave away the penalty. He was constantly exposed by Mason Clark and Jay De Silva. And their whole lineup was very defensive-minded, I thought. And obviously, they've only got one tactic, and that's push it down the channels to Carlton Morris. I thought they went for our left flank, our less strong left with De Silva. And Morris just barges into people. He doesn't go for the ball at all. He just goes for the man every single time.
Yes. Those weren't the words used earlier. No, and it's interesting because a lot of our fans were saying that's a sort of forward we should have gone for, but he's not going to suit the way we want to play.
A, he's not going to suit our style, and B, he doesn't fit our model at all. He's a veteran, isn't he? Let's face it. And he might score a few goals for Derby, but he's on the way down. He's on the way down. He didn't have a great season last year at Luton, did he?
No, not at all when they needed him.
No.
So all in all, it's a pretty good start, really, isn't it, this season?
It was excellent. And I had a great day out with my grandson, who's paying his first visit to Pride Park. And on the way up the M1, I regaled him with my story of the game at the baseball ground in 1970 when City won 4-3 in what is still one of my most famous games watching Coventry City. It was an amazing night. It was an amazing night. We won there the previous year, 3-1, and ended Derby's unbeaten home record. This was a bit different. We lined up. First of all, the rain was pelting down for, I don't know, a couple of hours before the kickoff. There was puddles all over the pitch. And after we had Will Smith making his debut after his £100,000 transfer from Sheffield Wednesday. And within 5 minutes, Smith went down with a bad ankle injury. And within minutes of him being stretchered off, we were a goal down. And 5 minutes later, we were 2 down. It really was a phenomenal performance for us to come back and win 4-3. And it included, I think we went 3-2 up. It was Neil Martin got one back after about half an hour. Dave Clements got another one 3 minutes later. And then just after half time, Neil Martin scored a second goal. He just loved playing against Roy McFarland. He always had the better of McFarland. So we're 3-2 ahead after being 2-0 down. But Derby came back. John McGovern made it 3-3. And then came penalty drama. I think it was Jeff Strong fouled Frank Wignall, who was getting dogs abuse all night from Coventry fans for breaking George Curtis's leg a few years earlier.
Of course, yeah.
And then Bill Glazier made the most fantastic penalty save from Alan Hinton, who was one of the best penalty takers. So we thought, we've got a 3-3 draw, fantastic. And then 2 minutes from time, up popped Willie Carr to score the winner and to just top a wonderful night, a wonderful away performance. And I've just got the match report from Derek Henderson in front of me. It starts off, So now who is defensive? Because City had a lot of criticism for being too defensive. So now who is defensive? Coventry City answered their critics last night at the baseball ground with a result out of adversity that ranks as probably their finest since arriving in the First Division 3 years ago. It was a famous victory achieved out of the jaws of disaster, for the game was only 5 minutes old when they lost their new signing, Will Smith, with a grotesquely swollen ankle. While he was off the field, Derby scored their first goal, and within a few more minutes, they hit another. You know, it was a phenomenal performance, and one that, well, I've remembered. That was 55 years ago. And, but, you know, in typical City fashion, the following Saturday, 3 days later, they drew 0-0 at home to Huddersfield.
Yeah, and that's us, isn't it? That's us all over.
It is. But I telling my grandson the story, and I didn't for 1 minute think we'd have a game to nearly match that game in 1970. For us to score 5 away from home is pretty incredible, but it was great. I've got a few records. I listened to your podcast with Jack at the weekend, and you can tell him to get his tanks off my lawn with his stats.
He loves it. He absolutely loves it.
He did.
He has short notice. But Miles will give him a message, say, Jack, can you come up with something for tonight? And he goes, yeah, I'll try and find something. Brilliant. Yeah,
it was very, very good. I'm very impressed, you can tell him. But he pointed out that we'd had 5 different scorers.
Yeah.
Something we last achieved at Sunderland in that 5-4 win up there, 2019. No, sorry, that wasn't the last time. We had 5 different scorers in the Oxford Cup tie.
Oh, yes.
2 years ago. But in the league, it was that Sunderland game. We also had 5 different scorers in that 6-0 against Bury back in 2016, didn't we?
Yeah.
And the game had 8 different scorers, which was 1 less than that Sunderland game, which had 9 different scorers.
That's extraordinary in itself, isn't it?
Yeah. I still watch that Sunderland game on YouTube, you know.
Jim, I do that with loads of games where I always have a brief look at that Wolves quarter final, just the more recent one, which we won, obviously.
Yeah,
it's just great, isn't it? Looking back at some of these games, even the recent ones.
Yes. So I had a look at the last time we won 5-3. It was only the 7th occasion in 100 seasons that we've recorded that score, and the last time was back in 1964. So what's that? 61 years ago, when we had that amazing start after winning promotion to the 2nd division. We won our first 5 games. Do you remember? Just before you started going, I suspect.
Just before I was born, and then we lost our next 5. Is that right?
We did.
Brilliant.
We beat Ipswich, who'd just come down from the First Division.
Yeah.
We beat them 5-3. I think we beat. It was in the days when at the start of the season, you played midweek home and away games against the same club. Yeah. And I think we'd won at Ipswich in the second game, 3-1. And then a week later, we played them at Highfield Road, and the crowd was 37,700. I think it was the biggest crowd since the war. I think it was. I think it's the biggest home crowd since the war. And things were buzzing, as you can imagine, in the city, having won 4. And we demolished Ipswich. Ken Hale got 2, George Kirby got 2, And of course, the HUD scored the 5th.
So what was the capacity? 48,000 then?
It would have been probably 50.
Right.
I think, yeah, we'd had the Sunderland Cup tie, hadn't we? 40,400 with about 5,000, they reckon, locked out. Right. And then we had 44,000, which was the official attendance. That's the number of tickets for the Man United game, cup game, just afterwards. So it would have been 45, 48. Yeah. It was pretty full, you know, and the terraces that night. So that there's as I said, 7th occasion we've recorded 5-3, and 3 of them were in the 1950s when things were pretty boring, including a 5-3 against Norwich on Christmas Eve 55, and 5-3 against Wrexham on Christmas Day the following year 56.
Oh, we could do with a 5-3 this year, couldn't we? That'd be great.
Yeah. And we'd only done it once before away from home, and that was at Millwall in the first post-war season, 46-7.
I'll take a 5-3 this year at Millwall as well.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. So we were saying, well, it's the old 5, isn't it?
Yeah.
And younger listeners might not know what we're talking about.
Well, what was interesting, because I listened to the local radio, and the guy presenting made a reference. He thought it's from the 60s, and Moz Baker was on, and he kind of thought it was, and after he thought, I don't think it was actually. And then somebody, I think a couple of people we know, messaged into the studio and says, no, it's from the 30s. It's much more further back than people realise, and that's right, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It goes back to the 30s when we obviously were the golden period of the club, albeit in Division 3 South. We were just a goal machine, and it seemed like every other week, every other home game, we were hitting 5 or more. And I thought I'd look back on that era, which really started with the arrival of Harry Storer in 1931, whose first signings were Jock Lauderdale from Blackpool, a Blackpool reserve, and Clary Borton, who was playing the odd game in Blackburn's first team. They were first division side. And that partnership, that striking partnership, were that was the golden partnership. And that first season, 1931-32, that was when Clary broke all the records and scored 49 league goals. And Lauderdale managed 19 with Billy Lake on 14. It was exciting stuff after the dreadful period of the 1920s. And I looked at that period between 1931 and 1936, those 5 seasons, which culminated in City getting promotion from the 3rd Division South. And the first thing to notice is that first season, they only finished 12th, even though they scored 108 goals.
Yeah.
And Clary got 49.
How many did they concede?
62.
Oh, that's interesting. So they must have had a few big wins and then some mediocre scores.
Yeah, they had an 8-0 against Crystal Palace, and they had lots of 5s. They had some. I'm going to check that goals conceded, because we had some heavy defeats. We lost 5-3 at Fulham on the opening day. We lost 6-1 at Cardiff the following month. So let me check my maths on that first season, 31-32. They conceded 28 at home and 37 away. What's that? 60. Oh no, 28. Oh no, they conceded 69 away. So that's 97 in total.
Oh, that sounds better.
That sounds better, doesn't it? Yeah. So 108 for, 97 against. They scored 5 or more 7 times that season.
But when you look at the league table, that's not much different to a lot of other teams, is it? I'm presuming the goals for and goals against was like that for a lot of the clubs.
Yeah, I doubt many scored over 100.
But they still used to score about 80, didn't they?
Yeah. It was a golden time for football. Lots of goals going in. So the following season, they were up to 6th. They scored 106, conceded 77, and they scored 5 or more 6 times. And that included Crystal Palace again got battered 6-2. Queen's Park Rangers got battered 7-0 with all 7 goals coming in the first half.
That's fantastic.
Christmas is interesting. Christmas Eve, they beat Bristol Rovers 2-0 at home. Boxing Day, went to Bristol City, lost 5-3. Following day, Bristol City came to Highfield Road. We won 6-0. New Year's Eve, Torquay at home, won 5-0. January the 7th, first Saturday into the New Year, went to Exeter, lost 5-0.
That sounds like a heavy Christmas period all round, I reckon.
Yeah. A week later, beat Cardiff 5-0. And the following week, beat Luton 4-0.
But I think, like I say, in those days, that was kind of almost the norm, wasn't it? You expected goals at football matches.
It was. And that's where the expression came. It came from the crowd. The crowd would say, come on, the old 5. They wanted, maybe when it was 4-0, instead of chanting, we want 5, they say, come on, the old 5.
Yeah, well, I can remember doing that in the 70s. If we got to 4-0 or 4-1 or something, you'd go, come on, the old 5. And I don't know why we used to say it. I just join in with everybody else.
Yeah. So that's where it comes from. And I guess we've got to thank Messrs. Storer, Borton and Lauderdale for making and scoring all those goals. Now, interestingly, I looked at where Coventry City have scored 5 or more goals in a game. And it's happened 157 times over 100 seasons, right?
Right.
In the 5 seasons between 31 and 36, they did it 33 times.
Wow.
So 21% of those games, those score lines, came in 5 seasons. Staggering, isn't it?
Yeah, that's you're getting your money's worth back then, weren't you?
You did,
including record league winning there.
9-0 Bristol City, yes. The other interesting fact about that era, how many in those 5 seasons? How many home games do you think they lost?
Oh. In those 5 seasons?
Yeah.
I'm going to go for average of 3 a season. So 15 in total.
Right. The answer is 11.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Isn't it?
That's like Liverpool of the 70s.
It is. 11 out of 105. And they won 82 of them.
Gosh, that is brilliant.
Yeah.
I can see why it's classed as a golden era, because that's that's tremendous, actually.
It is. Now, the other thing about the old 5 is, I started watching football at Lockheed Leamington.
Yes.
Well, on the front of their program in the 50s and 60s, they used to have the saying, "Up the old five."
And
I think,
there you go.
there you go, left-hand side of the player, it's got the old five.
Yeah. And then
Next to the windmill.
and up the brakes.
Up the brakes. So now I think that it probably came from the same era, but it's more likely to have come from the brakes team of the late 50s,
Yeah.
and early 60s, which they scored goals for fun. You know, when I used to go as a little kid, it seemed to be like 5-0 every week. I think one year, they got 134 goals in the West Midlands League, something like that.
I suppose you're a bit like me because we used to go. I wouldn't say regular, but it was a walk up the road. We were on Whitnash Road in Whitnash. You were down the other end, weren't you?
Yeah.
You could just walk there, couldn't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Not even a mile away from our house, the ground.
Yeah. Well, when I started going there, it was when I lived in just off Queensway.
Yeah.
And used to walk up past Cashmore School, up to the Tatchbrook Road, and my parents used to let me go when I was about 8 years old.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know a guy called Keith Hancock from Leamington.
Yes, I do.
Big on the music scene in Leamington.
Yeah, I know Keith.
Pardon?
I know Keith really well.
Do you?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we were in the same class at school.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I used to knock on his door. He used to live just between Cashmore and St. Joseph's School. We used to pick him up and we used to walk up to the windmill ground and pay our threepence to get in, find somebody who dropped a programme and get the programme, and change ends at half time. We're always behind the goal which Lockheed were kicking into. Yeah, great memories.
Yeah. Good old non-league ground, wasn't it?
It was.
Windmill.
It was. Yeah.
A pub on the corner. What more do you want? Perfect.
Yes. Yeah, which was the landlord of the pub was the father of another of my school friends, a girl called Frances Branston, and her father was Bill Branston, who was an ex-goalkeeper. I think he became caretaker manager of Lockheed at one stage. Yeah, it's gone now, of course. All houses now, isn't it?
Yeah, I know we've digressed from Coventry City, but I have to say what they've done at Lockheed Leamington FC is brilliant. The way they've that is literally back from the ashes, isn't it?
Yeah.
They've done really well. Absolutely fantastic what they've done there.
Yeah,
it's a tidy little ground now.
It is
Harbury Lane, and
is.
I've been to a few matches. Yeah, it's a good atmosphere. It's very, very good. It's good to see that they've had a rebirth, basically.
Well, yeah, they went into they were mothballed, weren't they?
Yeah.
After the windmill was sold for houses, and there was a group of them just kept the club going in mothballs and looking for an opportunity to get a new ground and a rebirth, as you say, of the club. It's amazing.
It reminds me of Billy's Boots from Raw the Rovers, where they found a field and they made a football pitch and started a football team.
Yeah,
it's like that basically, wasn't it? And people made donations to build the stands and everything. And a very good friend of mine who's an Aston Villa season ticket holder gave up his season ticket at Villa, gave it up, and got a season ticket at Leamington and watched his Leamington instead.
Yeah,
he said he just kind of fell out of love with the whole.
You can understand that for a Villa fan, though, can't you?
Yes, you can. Well, yeah, because his season ticket's trebled. It's like gone through the roof. He says it's just unaffordable almost.
Yeah.
So, and that's my worry if we ever get promoted.
Yes,
it's going to be a shock to the system for some people. I think it's a shock to the system now for some people. So imagine what it's going to be like if we get promoted.
Yes. It's it would be very strange, wouldn't it? Very strange.
Yeah. So back to the old five.
Yeah. So I think obviously the 5-goal thrillers after the after the club won promotion to the second division in 1936, the Harry Storer changed his tactics somewhat. He became a much more defensive side. Probably realizing he couldn't play the expansive football that had won him so many friends in the third division south. And really, the 5-goal thrillers became a thing of the past. Really, I said we did get quite a few in the 50s, and a fair share in the 60s, particularly on the Jimmy Hill years. Thinking back to the early years in the first division, I do remember us getting 5 against QPR in that second season, when a night game in February, we were bottom of the table and QPR were just above us, and we whacked them 5-0, and it started the rise up the table. We got the 5-4 against Norwich in '77. That was a famous one. We've got the 5-5 at Southampton.
Yeah.
The Dell in 1982. It's nice to think I saw most of these. I guess the most attacking side, we've discussed this this team, the 77-78 team, quite a bit before, haven't we? We touched on it with Tommy Hutchison in the last episode. But we had the 5-4 against Norwich. We also whacked Chelsea 5-1, didn't we, that year? What other 5-goal games do you remember?
I remember letting 5 in against Everton at home. That was that a 5?
Yes.
That was terrible, wasn't it? That was
5-0, yeah.
Good question. The Watford Cup tie, 81 season.
Yes. The Sunderland Cup tie.
Yeah, Sunderland Cup tie. Was that 5 or was it 6 in the league, 5 in the cup? We beat them 6-1, didn't we, in the league at one stage?
6-1 in the league, yeah. We got the 5-2 against Stoke in 1977 when Ian Wallace scored a hat-trick against Peter Shilton.
Cup game, the 5-4 against Nottingham Forest.
Yes.
That's
and in more recent times, we had that 5-0 away win at Hartlepool. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? How you it's some of these games, they kind of just disappear, don't they, in your memory bank somewhere, and I don't know why. It's really weird, Jim, how you can remember stuff from way back and some of the more recent stuff, and you actually think this is one of the most successful periods in our history, the last few seasons.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's almost like it's all merged into one almost. The seasons, it's really weird.
That's old age.
Oh, is it? All right.
Yeah, that's old age.
I'm trying to think in recent years how many teams we've battered, basically.
Well, obviously we did Maidstone 5-0, didn't we?
Yeah.
In the cup, and then about 10 days later we did Rotherham 5-0. In fact, it was a week later, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I suppose going back a bit, the Liverpool at home.
Yes.
I mean, that was a memorable game. That was truly Mickey Quinn as well. The sending off of Jamie Redknapp, which is unusual in itself.
Yes. Yeah, Liverpool were on their uppers then, weren't they? It was Souness was in charge. And it wasn't a great period in Liverpool's history, was it?
No, he tried to get rid of the old guard, didn't he? And it didn't work at all.
There's a couple of away games. I don't know if you remember. At Bolton in 1998, we won 5-1
with Dion.
Yeah. And then a big game in 2008 at Colchester, where we were losing 1-0 at half time, and relegation was beginning to loom its head, and we scored 5 in the second half, including 2 Elliott Ward penalties.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yes, he can definitely score a penalty as well, could Elliott Ward. We scored 5 at Blackburn as well, and they could have gone top of the league.
That's right. Yeah,
it's quite. They're starting to come in now into the head. I'm just. I mean, people watching YouTube, you can actually see I'm looking at the screen, as in like ahead of me. I've got nothing in front of me. I'm just trying to think of things now.
Yeah.
Which games? It's. That's how these things work, don't they, Jim? You sort of you'll mention something, and I go, "Oh yeah, what about this one?"
Yes. And I just thought of another one. The opening day of the 63-4 season, we beat Crystal Palace 5-1. And Ronnie Farmer got a hat-trick from midfield.
We've got a good record against Palace with big wins, haven't we? Lots of things.
We have, yeah.
You mentioned Chelsea, the win against Chelsea. I can remember Chelsea back then was a sort of team you'd love to play at home because you've always felt like you're going to batter them in those days. But they weren't particularly great, weren't they, sort of that period?
No, they weren't.
With the likes of Mickey Droy in defence was so slow.
Yes. Didn't they go down that season?
I think they did, yeah.
Yeah, you see, they had the hangover of that, the cost of that new stand when the economy went to pieces in the mid-70s. There were a lot in the Jimmy Hill era. I mentioned the Palace one. We whacked Crewe 5-1, Southampton 5-1 in 65, Preston 5-1 in 66, Plymouth 5-1 just 2 weeks later, Pompey on New Year's Eve 66, Burnley first season in the top flight 5-1, Bobby Gould hat-trick.
That's yeah. Did you mention Derby? Did we beat Derby in the League Cup in that period?
No.
The
Derby, we've beaten Derby 6-2 at Highfield Road, haven't we?
Yeah.
And then we did them 6-1 the following season at the Rico, where Dennis Wise scored after. Dennis Wise was booked after 30 seconds, wasn't he? And didn't he score after? He fouled that midfielder who cost an arm and a leg. What's his name? He went to Leeds.
Oh,
it's gone.
Mark Pembroke? No. No, I can't think, Jim.
It's gone. Dennis scored that day, and we won 6-1. Then there was the Cheltenham game. That was 6-1 as well. That was an away win.
Yeah, and was that about a week or so after we got hammered by Yeovil at home.
It was.
That was a day, wasn't it? That's
McNulty hat-trick.
Yeah, some great goals in that game.
Yeah. We also won 6-1 at Walsall, 2004. And 2 years earlier, 6-1 at Crewe when Lee Hughes got a hat-trick.
This is we sound like we're entertaining football club, don't we? The amount of goals we're scoring is.
Yeah,
It's spread over a lot of years, though.
It is. Yeah.
And it's interesting because you do hear a lot of people saying stuff like, "We're going to batter somebody one day. It's going to happen," and of course, it has already in the first week. And somebody mentioned that after the Hull game, saying, "If only we could just take the chances, we're going to turn somebody over." And we've done in the second league match of the season, which is great. I mean, I mentioned QPR on Saturday because of the 20 years of the RICO, which is, we're recording this on the Tuesday, and it's tomorrow. What was your thoughts at the time? The whole move, obviously, I remember seeing the grand plans, and we were really excited about it. I think most Cov fans were, but what did you actually? How did you feel about the move yourself?
God, it's a long time ago, isn't it? I think I was at mixed emotions, really. I think very sad to be leaving Highfield Road, but the club were in a terrible trough. After relegation from the Premiership, and I continued to go, obviously, and drag my poor son along, who'd only started really going in '97. He didn't see much of the successful years in the Premiership, but I think I'd lost faith in the club at that time. And if you remember that last season at Highfield Road, I thought we were going down after Mickey Adams came, and he didn't win a game for weeks and weeks, and we just sunk lower and lower in the table. And we went on holiday in April, and I think I missed 2 or 3 home games. Certainly missed the Brighton win, and who else did they beat? I can't remember, but I came back and there were just 3 or 4 games left. And now in years gone by, in the 70s or 80s, I would never have gone on holiday in April. So that shows that my enthusiasm had wavered. And I think I just hoped that we could stay up, which we did. And obviously we had that wonderful day at Highfield Road against Derby, which was really emotional. I think that was one of the most emotional days of my life. At the end of that game, leaving Highfield Road, knowing that it was going to be demolished, and it had so many happy memories there. And then, of course, you move on. Well, the king is dead. Long live the king. Let's get to the new stadium. And it was really exciting. I hadn't bothered to go up and see any of the building or anything. I just waited until the new season. And I had two nephews over from Canada who were in their early teens, I think, at the time. I took them along. They'd never been to a football match in England before. They just thought, 23,000 there, fantastic atmosphere. 3, scored after, 10 minutes or whatever. Yeah. It was just so exciting for them, and it was exciting for me as well. And I bought a seat right by the halfway line, halfway up the East Stand. Along with all my friends were around me. We'd made it possible for us all to get a block of seats together, and the majority of them are still in those same seats. And it was really exciting, and I really enjoyed that first season. Particularly that the home form wasn't bad, was it? It was pretty good. And then Dennis Wise came along, and we had I want to say we had a flirtation with the playoffs. We finished 8th, but with a couple of a couple of different results, we might have snuck in the playoffs. Not that we deserved it, but it was quite an exciting home season. And after the dross we had in the previous 3 years at Highfield Road, it was cheering, and it was a new environment. It was fresh and clean, and I loved it.
Yeah, I was mixed emotions as well. Because, we stood outside, I think, the Tommy Hutchison placard bit. We got the bricks on Tuesday night with the cup game, and Jack, who also presents on Sky Blue Fans TV, was saying, "Oh, we were looking at the names on the wall." And I said, "Oh, I didn't get a brick," and he said, "Why not?" I said, "Well, because to be honest, I didn't want to move. I just didn't want to pay the money for a brick because I didn't want to be here. I didn't want it to leave Highfield Road." Because at the time, my thoughts were, what do I know in Coventry? I know how to get to Highfield Road because I'm from Leamington and Warwick originally. I never used to go out in Coventry apart from the odd night back in the day in Tiffany's and wherever it was called, or go to the Odeon. And then that was like an ordeal trying to find my way there.
Yeah.
And I actually thought, I've got no idea how to get to this part of Coventry. I'm so used to driving from Leamington into the city centre, park my car by the Binley Oak, and beer engine, and then to the game. You know, I've got my parking spot. I'd had it for years. My dad had it before me for years. We just parked at the same place. And I just thought, how do I get to the ground now? It completely threw me. And I found it. Although it was a big, massive stadium, it just kind of threw me a bit. And it took me a long time to get used to it going up there. I used to enjoy more going to away games than going up there. And it was
I can understand
weird.
that.
And the one time bizarrely, I got emotional was an Oasis concert. When Oasis played there, and I was on the pitch, obviously, and I thought, wow, I'm on the pitch of my team. I got sort of a bit emotional. I thought, this is, I need to start adopting this new stadium now. This is ridiculous. Come on board with it like everybody else. But it's. I mean, of course, typical Coventry style. The first game of the season, they couldn't open all the ground, could they? Because they didn't have a fire certificate for one end of the ground. Just had we played away from home the first couple of games or something to delay this?
Yeah, we if I remember rightly, we switched the first home game. It was due to be Norwich.
Yeah,
and we switched it from the Rico to Carrow Road.
Yeah.
And then the second, was it Burnley away? The second,
Yeah.
We played a midweek game. I think we drew at Norwich. We lost 4. I remember we lost 4-0 at Burnley the game before the Rico opening, and I'm sure we were bottom of the table. That's an interesting one. Let me just check that out because it's interesting. 2005-06.
But I mean, now though, the contrast is totally different, isn't it?
It is.
I think it's absolutely fantastic now. I've got to say that I just love the whole around the ground. Inside's getting better and better. We spoke about the atmosphere before. It is quite special now at home, I think. And I feel even like the guys who do I know the tannoy system isn't the best, but the lads and the women who are behind it all, trying to get everybody G'd up for the game, are doing a great job, I think, to get the atmosphere going. And it's way better than I can remember at Highfield Road, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, we're just checking back on that season. Yeah, we did play at Carrow Road, the opening game. That was switched from a home game to an away game. We then so we drew 1-1 at Carrow Road. Then we played Millwall away in midweek and drew 0-0. And then we went to Burnley on the second Saturday and lost 4-0.
All right.
And we were 22nd in the table after that, so we weren't quite bottom. We had 2 points out of 6, and then we obviously had the QPR game the following Saturday. And when QPR came, they were unbeaten, and they were second in the table at the start of play. So it was a big scalp, wasn't it? And there was the first red card at the Rico. Do you remember who that was?
No.
Danny Shitu.
Sorry. Excuse the language. And he was, wasn't he? As
He
my
was.
mate
He was
used to say.
Yes. He was a brick Shitu, wasn't he?
Yeah. Shitu by name, Shitu by nature, he used to say to me. He's a big QPR fan, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got the new programme here, Jim. Are you still doing your bit in it?
Yes, I am, yeah.
So a question for you then. How do you decide what you're going to do? Because, I mean, you could cover loads of stuff. So do you go on a theme for the whole season, or you just vary it, or what comes into your head?
Well, I have a set program, because I write about 50 years ago that week.
Right. Okay.
So it's called the Skyblues story, and it's basically looking back to 50 years ago. So this coming Saturday for QPR, I'm writing about. I've already written it, but it's about our second and third games of the 75-6 season, which was a home draw with the league champions Derby and a 2-0 home win over Manchester City, with Alan Green getting both goals. So what I do a page of text, and I provide a cover of a program, normally an away program. I think the one you're looking at is the Everton.
Yeah.
The Everton, because we won 4-1 at Everton on the opening day that season. And I'll put in a photograph from my collection from the game, and normally a scan of the pink from the day 50 years previously.
I love looking at these little clips of you, the photographs of things like the pink, especially because it's always got it tells you it's on TV, the football. And whenever I look at it, and we beat Everton 4-1, which wasn't on, I don't think, local television, even in Granada. They probably showed some hours. But when we're at home, we'd be playing something like, say, Wolves at home. You think that's bound to be on telly, and you turn up, and the cameras aren't there. For some reason, they've gone to Notts County v Grimsby.
Yes.
And it's a 0-0. And you think, why have they gone there? Why they never seem to want to come to Highfield Road? And you did have that excitement, didn't you, when you walked towards the main stand and you could see the big, massive dish and the big lorries there. You think, oh, we're on telly. It used to be so exciting.
It was. And the regulations were that they couldn't announce what was going to be on Match of the Day or the big match or ITV Star Soccer until just before 3:00 on a Saturday, because the Football League were worried that if they announced it too early, the crowd would be, the attendance would be affected. Can you believe it?
I know, but I suppose in those days it was extended highlights. You got at least 20 odd minutes of a game, didn't you?
Yeah, unless it was a 0-0 ball draw. Yeah.
But when you had, because I've been watching the big match and things like that revisited, and I'm fascinated with some of the games that they showed on there.
Yes.
Yeah, they seem to show Leighton Orient a lot down in London. See, when I watch those, I'm just thinking, well, Spurs, Chelsea, Arsenal all must be away that weekend, because if they're showing Leighton Orient and Palace, and
they probably had a part of the contract was they had to show so many games from the second division and third division, didn't they, during the season? But it was exciting when you saw that the big vans they used to have, the BBC and ITV, and then they had that like a dish coming out of the van, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah. It was. I used to love it, and it's. But I mean, also there was no video recording those days.
No,
But people still went to pubs. The pubs were full, but Match of the Day used to get millions, didn't they, as well?
it did. Yeah, yeah. And I remember working in a pub in Leamington. It would probably be 70-71 season, and there'd be guys who used to work at the Oak Inn on Radford Road,
Yeah,
and as a barman, and underage, of course.
yeah.
And there'd be guys, they'd leave the pub at 10 o'clock on a Saturday night. Oh, I'm off now. I'm going to watch Match of the Day. It was a big thing, wasn't it?
And I suppose you had the 10:30 closing hours as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
So it's not like you were leaving too early. Like now.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad put a TV up in the. Firstly, he did it in the late 70s, early 80s, because he noticed people weren't coming in on Sundays because the guys were staying at home watching the snooker. So
Really?
he got a portable telly in both the smoke room and the main bar, and
Yeah.
put a TV in there for the men to come out on a Sunday and watch the snooker on the telly in the pub.
Wow.
And then of course we had the World Cup on in 1982, which was massive, to have it in a pub, and we used to have it on the like a 16-inch telly. That's all it was, but people would come to the pub and watch it.
Yeah.
I can still see Neri's goal against Brazil. That's where I saw it in the bar of our pub.
Well, yeah, that must have been a godsend, because a lot of men during the World Cup or Euros, when you've got football on every single night, a lot of wives say, you're not watching football again. I want to watch Coronation Street.
and even worse, there was no TV in the bookies in those days, was there?
I don't know.
It was just a radio feed. So this is why they used to think it was a big con at times, the bookies. They don't know what race they were listening to. But anyway, there was a there was Mace Leighton, bookmakers across the road from where we lived in Warwick, the King's Head. So he used to have all the guys in the pub, and he used to have a runner come up, totally illegal, and they can't do anything now. They used to come across the road, take all the bets from everybody in the pub, and put the bets on across the road, and they'd stay in the pub watching the races on the telly.
God.
Viva the 70s, that's what I say. We want to be more like that. 50. So you mentioned him 50 years ago, that year, 75, 76 season. That's the year we moved to Warwick, to the King's Head. Yeah, fact, that was the year the supporters club, Leamington Warwick Supporters Club, started.
Yeah.
So not virtually a few months after the London one.
Yeah, that was November 76 was the London supporters.
Yeah, we're not long after, yeah. So it's brilliant times, but people just didn't care.
No, I have to admit, Claudio, I don't think I've ever been in a bookies shop.
Haven't you?
I don't think so.
I must admit, the first time I went into one, and I don't know why, I felt a bit dirty. I don't know what I was doing. Fish out of water, really.
Yeah.
I hadn't got a clue, and I rarely go into one, to be honest. But yeah, they were good times. They were good times, and what made it even funnier is that there's the police station in Warwick was at the top of the road, which
But the interesting thing, going back to 75, 76, which I've written about in the programme this coming Saturday, the first home game was that midweek game against Derby, and there was chaos at the turnstiles because 12 gatemen hadn't turned up for duty. And there were, at the time the game kicked off at 7:30, it said in the Telegraph there were thousands outside, many of whom turned round and went home. And there were people still coming into the ground 20 minutes after the kickoff.
wow.
Shades of this season against Betis.
Yes. Well, in those days, you hardly had any turnstiles compared to now.
That's true. That's true, but they worked a lot quicker sometimes, didn't they?
Yeah. Especially the ones used to go between your legs trying to get in. That was quite funny. Yes. So we got. Would you say? Well, we come to the hour. What I want to ask you quickly then. Another record this season, do you think, for the attendances? Do you reckon it's going to be that way?
Judging from the number of season ticket holders, it's almost certainly will be. It will be the best since. It'll be the best since 70, 71, won't it? We can't top that because there's not enough seats in the ground. We'll never break the record of 34,000, which was 67, 68. But I think, was it last year? It was the fourth highest in the club's history.
Yeah. I think that's where you mentioned the 34,000. What is that the highest average we've ever had at home?
Yeah.
And I think that puts in perspective the size of the club we are as well, because that was in the days when you could get nearly 50,000 in the ground.
Yes.
So I think that's what people need to realise where we are as a club.
Yes.
For many years we're batting way above our station, basically. The way we survived in the top league, and for us to get back up there again, which I think is still achievable, and to stay there will be incredible. I don't know how we'd do it once we get up there. Maybe do what Sunderland have tried to do this season and have 7 new starters in the team, even though 3 of their old players scored against West Ham. But to me, that's the way forward. If we ever go up, I think we have to gamble, but not to the point where you risk everything, but give yourself a fighting chance.
Yeah, and would you say that Ipswich's strategy worked? They got relegated, but they've come down with a very strong squad, haven't they?
Yeah, and I would fully expect them to win the league, to be honest.
Yeah,
but
I think they will. I think they will, and nothing. I know they've drawn their first 2 games, but that's nothing. There's 44 more games, isn't there? And not only have they strengthened the squad, but they've sold 3 players in the last 6 weeks. They've sold Amari Hutchinson now, Rory Delat. They're both 30-odd million pounds, 35 million, I think, both of them.
Yeah.
And then Broadhead has gone for 7. So they've got over 80 million in the last few weeks.
Yeah,
as well as their parachute money.
I think they get nearer 10 million for Broad. I mean, whatever they got for him was good money for him.
Yeah.
Because,
And
so I think
they are very strong, and they'll spend some of that before the window closes.
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
They're linked to Hackney, aren't they, of Middlesbrough?
Yeah, he's a decent player, good player. And briefly, thoughts on Wrexham and Birmingham?
Well, Birmingham, they've had 3 good results, haven't they?
Yeah.
Left it late on Saturday against Blackburn, but they got there. They're going to be a force, aren't they? They are going to be a force. It'll be a cracking game at CBS when they come next month.
They're playing with a bit of fire, aren't they? Which
yeah, and like all Birmingham sides, they're very physical, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think with Wrexham, they've still come up with a lot of players from lower league football.
Yeah,
they're changing it slowly, but I think they'll find it tougher than Birmingham will this season. I think a lot of people predicting Wrexham to go up again, but there's more chance of Blues doing it, to be honest, than Wrexham.
And I've got to say, the Baggies look strong. That was a great win at Wrexham.
Yeah.
And this Isaac Price, midfielder, got 2 goals. He looks a real find.
So it's going to be, I think, it's going to be a really good season in terms of the quality of the football all round. I think it's going to be really tough.
Yeah.
And with any championship season, the teams who go up basically deserve to go up in the end. It's a long slog.
Yeah.
But watching our game last Saturday, I'd have loved to have had Torp and Mason Clark against Sunderland fit, in those two legs. Torp was, that game to me showed why we missed Torp towards the back end of last season. A key player. So another great episode, I think, Jim.
Yes. Really enjoyable and great subject. Come on, the old 5.
Come on, I could do with 5 again. Yeah, in the old days, we used to batter QPR at home as well, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
I'd like to give them a good battering. So if you enjoy this, of course, like and subscribe. We're on virtually every week. We're on episode 42, is this?
It is.
If you go back and if you go onto the YouTube channel, which is the Sky Blue Fans TV channel, if you go on there, you'll find lots more old episodes, or just go on Spotify. They're all on there, the whole lot. So, and you can just keep rewatching them and refresh your history. And just join in the fun. Any news on the archive before we? Because there's problems with the website. Is that sorted now?
No, it isn't. It's been the most devastating blow to us, to our group, the group of historians that spent so much time in getting that up and running. We've been let down badly by the hosting company, who have deleted our data, basically.
Oh no!
And at this point in time, we're taking legal advice about it, but it does look as though the data is lost, and we're making plans to how we can recover, restore the data. It's going to be a lot of work. So if there's anybody out there who wants to volunteer to load some data, match data for us, you don't have to be that IT literate. But please contact me if there's anybody who wants to volunteer. We've got a hell of a lot of work to do to get back to where we were, and it's just sad. It really is heartbreaking to lose all that information when it was just getting so much positive feedback and support. So
I'll put a plea in the program, Jim. Things like that. I think just get it out there.
Yeah, I think we've got our tech experts mulling over the way we're going to do it at this point without starting the slog. We're doing a lot of planning on how we're going to do it, and when we've got a better idea, we will make an appeal. Yeah.
Right. That's really sad to hear that, because I know how much work went into that.
Yeah.
So if anyone's out there, if you're listening, please get in contact with Jim. Any help would be welcome. And yes, be part of the journey. So back next week. We've got a game next week. We're back next week.
We've got Millwall away.
Oh yes, Millwall away. Yes.
You going?
Well, I'm going to purchase my ticket. Yes. So
what, to get the points?
Well, hopefully to get there as well. So
it's a bit of a slog in midweek, isn't it?
I know. I'm going to go to Wrexham, but I'd like to go. I'd like to go next week. So I'm going to make the effort.
Okay, 2 weeks' time, then we'll see if we can maybe get a guest for that.
Yes,
2 weeks' time.
Brilliant. All right. Good night, Jim, and
good night, Claudio.
And we'll catch you all very soon.
Good night, everybody.
Yes. Good night.
Company business. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. Thank you.